All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. In studio with us today, they've got a big event coming up on Thursday at the Free Market Institute at Texas Tech University. Dr. Ben Powell, hey, welcome back.
Hey, Chad, great to be back with you, buddy.
How's it going?
It's going great. Really excited about what we got going on with Dr. Williams this week.
And tell us about our speaker that we have coming up.
Sure. We have Dr. Walter Williams, a professor of economics and former chairman of George Mason's economics department, where I was fortunate enough to do my graduate work a few moons ago. Also, as the Lubbock community will be most familiar with him, a syndicated columnist whose column runs every morning here in the AJ. And we're thrilled to have him back in Lubbock. He visited us 4 years ago. About 900 people turned out to his event that year. It was fantastic. And we're going to have him back here on Thursday for an event at 6 o'clock, 6 to 7:15 p.m. in the Allen Theater in the Student Union Building at Tech. He'll be giving his public lecture, and before that, he'll be doing a book signing again from 5:15 to 5:45, just before the talk. And he was gracious enough to call in and join us here on your show today as well, Chad.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Williams, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Well, absolutely. It's an honor to talk to you. I read your column, and like millions of other Americans read your column. And let me tell you, you like to stir people up, don't you?
Well, when you talk about liberty, you do stir people up.
Absolutely. Well,
and because unfortunately, from many of my fellow Americans, we don't share they don't share the values of liberty the way I do.
Well, and that's something that we've seen a lot, obviously in the government, but also on college campuses, and that's what I want to talk about just real quickly with you. Obviously, you're going to be speaking over at Texas Tech. You're familiar, obviously, with the college campus atmosphere compared to 4 years ago, or even if you want to go back longer than that. What's changed? What has changed on the college campus?
I've been teaching 50 years, and it won't be 50 more, but it's been 50 years. And I've seen quite a bit of a change, and some of the things that happen on college campuses just would you wouldn't even have thought of those years ago. For example, after the elections, on some colleges, they had the students were very upset with the outcome of the elections, and they had therapy dogs for the students, crayons and coloring books, and videos of kittens and puppies playing and things like this. And this was unheard of years ago. Matter of fact, I wrote a column about it, and I was asking, well, these are 18 to 30-year-old people who are snowflakes. That a lot of times people call them snowflakes. But we have 18 to 30-year-olds on our aircraft carriers, and I was wondering whether the commanders of aircraft carriers after the election gave our fighting men and women Play-Doh and maybe dismissed some exercises and did other kinds of things that colleges were doing.
I don't think that would have flown too well in the military, don't you?
Yeah, right. So I don't think so. At least I hope so.
So what is it? What is it? Is it the parents? Is that where it starts, and the colleges just continue that atmosphere? Because you're right. You have people who are the same age that go off into the military, and they can go off into the real world, but college kids they can't handle. So many college kids just can't handle the real world these days.
Well, I think that maybe they're not encouraged to handle the real world. That is, I think that one of the major problems we have on colleges is that many of the professors on college campuses and many of the administrators, and not all by no means, are the hippies of the 1960s that now have gotten a little older, and they're now professors and administrators, and they have sympathy for soft-mindedness.
Well, I guarantee you, Dr. Williams, I'm not old enough to be one of the hippies from the 60s on campus here at Tech.
Dr. Williams, what can people expect when they come and hear you speak this upcoming Thursday over at Texas Tech?
Well, I guess they could hear me talk about the values of our founders, whose Constitution and Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence accounts for us turning out to being the richest and the freest nation on the face of the earth, and that imposes a heavy burden on the American people, because if liberty dies in America, it will be dead in all places for all times. And that's an awesome responsibility that we have in our country to maintain liberty. And so I don't see a whole lot of it. I don't see a whole lot of movement in that direction on college campuses. And that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about. If you're for liberty, you surely must support a limited role for the federal government, because a government is the essence of coercion. And if you want liberty, you want to minimize coercion. And this was the idea of our founders, that they wanted a limited government. And so I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, day after tomorrow.
When you see, and there was a poll out, I believe it was today, that there's a new one out, but there are more and more people who say they want an active government. They want a bigger role of government. How do we fight back against that? And when does that start? When does that idea that we need to push back against big government begin?
Well, to push back against big government?
Yes,
no,
sir.
Are you saying that most people want a more active government?
Well, that at least one poll shows that a growing number of people want a more active and larger government.
Well, nothing's really surprising about that, because personal liberty is the rare state of affairs in human history. That is, throughout human history, most people have been subject to arbitrary abuse and control by others. And it's only been this tiny part of mankind's population, mostly in the West, for only a tiny part of its history, mostly the 18th and 19th centuries, that people have had personal liberty, private property rights, and respect for their other liberties, God-given rights. And so the American people, those Americans who are for more government control over our lives, they are very consistent with mankind's history. And so what the founders of our nation did, they sought to make a permanent break in that history.
Visiting with Dr. Walter Williams. Will be over at Texas Tech University on Thursday with the Free Market Institute at Texas Tech. I want to ask you about something that Dr. Powell and I were talking about before we got back on the air, and that is with the shooting that occurred in Las Vegas. One of the things I keep hearing from these late night comedians, and from they're very philosophical, the late night comedians, and some on the left is, how is it that we can have a right to own as many guns as we want? This guy who had 18 guns, and how can people have 18 guns, but we don't have a right to health care? And people are amazed by that. How would you respond if you were writing a column over that question? How would you respond to that?
Well, one, the right to buy weapons, to keep and bear arms, that is a right given to us by the United States Constitution. A right to health care, I don't see the word health in the United States Constitution.
How is that so hard? Right. How is that so hard for the left to understand?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. The right to bear arms means that I can walk into a store and buy a weapon. Now, if you say that I have a right to health care, even if I can't afford it, then that says that I have a right to go to you or get Congress to take your earnings and provide health care for me. That is the money that government spends, the only way that the government can give one American citizen $1 is to first take it through intimidation, threats, and coercion from some other American. Now, that's not moral. That's nothing more than legalized theft. Now, I believe in helping one's fellow man in need, but helping one's fellow man in need by reaching into one's own pockets to do so is praiseworthy and laudable. Helping one's fellow man in need by reaching into somebody else's pockets to do so is worthy of condemnation. And for the Christians among us, we should keep in mind that when God gave Moses the commandment, thou shalt not steal, he did not mean thou shalt not steal unless you got a majority vote in the United States Congress.
I love it. Dr. Williams, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you back here in Lubbock over at Texas Tech University on Thursday.
I look forward to coming back as well.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Williams. That's Dr. Walter Williams. I think he's going to be a big hit.
I expect he will. This community gave him an awesome reception last time. Bookstore said they sold more books that day than ever before, and Williams said he thought he signed more that day. I'm looking forward to having him back.
Give people all the details of his appearance.
Allen Theater on campus, Texas Tech's campus, in the Student Union building. Book signing. The books will be for sale there as well from 5:15 to 5:45. His lecture on Our Americans Liberty Lovers at 6 o'clock, 6 to 7:15. It's free and open to the general public. You can park just on the south side of the Student Union starting at 5 o'clock. That lot is open for free parking, and there's overflow pay parking in other lots. Check out our website, www.fmi.ttu.edu, for further details, and look forward to seeing you all there.
It's 900 people attended last time. I say get there early.
Get there early.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Ben Powell, thank you very much.
Thank you.